Something seismic just happened in America's legal landscape, and it's shaking the foundation of Second Amendment rights. In September 2025, 10 powerful federal court rulings dropped like thunderbolts, dismantling decades of gun control policies and rewriting how firearm ownership, transport, and enforcement work across the country. If you own a gun, plan to carry one, or are even considering a future purchase, what you're about to hear could mean the difference between staying on the right side of the law and becoming a felon overnight. Now, let's break down each of these historic decisions, because knowing them could protect your freedom. 10. Rule number 10. Digital surveillance shutdown. A massive privacy win out of the Ninth Circuit has upended how states handle firearm registries. The court ruled that digital registries combined with real-time tracking cross a constitutional line, violating the Fourth Amendment. Here's the backstory. California had been secretly using cell phone data to track registered gun owners entering sensitive places like schools and government buildings, then flagging them for investigation. The court blasted this practice, saying government cannot transform a constitutional right into a tool for constant surveillance. What this means? Every state with a gun registry must now prove they're not misusing it for tracking, or risk having the entire system declared unconstitutional. And you should know this phrase by heart. Officer, I do not consent to any digital searches of my devices or records. Surveillance based solely on lawful gun ownership violates the Ninth Circuit ruling on digital privacy. Rule number 9. Vehicle Safe Harbor Shield. Traveling with firearms just became dramatically safer under a Fifth Circuit decision establishing the safe harbor doctrine. If you're transporting a firearm legally, unloaded, locked, and separate from ammo, law enforcement can no longer use that alone as probable cause to stop, search, or detain you. Even more significant, federal law now overrides stricter state restrictions during interstate travel. Imagine driving from Pennsylvania to Vermont with a legal firearm. Even if you pass through New Jersey, which has tough local laws, you're protected under federal safe harbor. Remember this script. Officer, my firearm is being transported in full compliance with federal safe harbor provisions under 18 U.S.C. 926A, as recognized by the Fifth Circuit. Its presence does not constitute probable cause for any search or detention. Rule number 8. Universal Carry Landmark. In a stunning 6-3 Supreme Court decision, the justices expanded gun rights beyond anything seen before, declaring that the Second Amendment has no geographic limits. Key takeaways. Permit systems taking longer than 30 days are presumed unconstitutional. Good cause requirements for concealed carry are now illegal. Permit fees above $50 violate constitutional standards. 12 states had their permit laws invalidated overnight. If your application has been pending longer than 30 days, it's now automatically approved. The message from the court was clear. A right delayed is a right denied. Rule number 7. Ammunition equality breakthrough. The D.C. Circuit just ruled that ammunition is inseparable from the right to bear arms. Restrictions like background checks, purchase limits, and bans on online sales were struck down nationwide. The opinion was blunt. A firearm without ammunition is nothing more than a costly club. Because the Second Amendment protects arms, it must also protect the ammunition that makes them functional. California's ammo background checks? Gone. New York's online ammo restrictions? Overturned. Illinois' serialized ammo proposal? Dead on arrival. Your defense. The new D.C. Circuit ruling establishes that ammunition enjoys full Second Amendment protection. Any restriction on ammunition that would not apply to a firearm itself is presumptively unconstitutional. Rule number 6. Home gun building revolution. The Fourth Circuit unleashed a game changer. Americans have a deeply rooted right to build firearms for personal use, and that right now carries the highest constitutional protection. The court dismantled the ATF's ghost gun rule, pointing out that Americans have been manufacturing firearms at home since the colonial era. And here's the shocker. Forcing serial numbers on homemade guns may violate your Fifth Amendment rights if that firearm is later used in self-defense. In short, 3D printing, 80% lowers, and home builds are now constitutionally protected. Use this phrase if challenged. Under the new Fourth Circuit precedent, I have a constitutional right to manufacture firearms for personal use without serialization or government interference. Rule number 5. Mental health firewall. A 11th Circuit decision just built a legal wall between mental health care and firearm rights. Seeking therapy, whether for PTSD, addiction, or marriage counseling, cannot be used against you to strip away your Second Amendment rights unless a court formally declares you dangerous. The court warned that forcing people to choose between help and their rights would only worsen mental health crises and public safety. The only exception: a court adjudication with full due process. Otherwise, voluntary treatment remains private and protected. Rule number 4. National Reciprocity Mandate. The Third Circuit just turned the concealed carry world upside down. It ruled that states must recognize out-of-state carry permits under the full faith and credit clause, just like driver's licenses or marriage certificates. No registration, no notification. Your Utah permit is valid in New York, and your Florida permit works in California. Period. The ruling effectively creates nationwide constitutional carry, whether Congress acts or not. Rule number 3. Seizure Shutdown Protocol. A 7-2 Supreme Court decision just obliterated civil asset forfeiture and red flag laws that allow gun seizures without charges. The court ruled that the government cannot seize constitutionally protected property without a criminal conviction. This means red flag seizures without charges, unconstitutional. Civil forfeiture of guns, illegal. Temporary seizures during investigations, not allowed. Officers now face personal liability for illegal seizures, and qualified immunity no longer protects them in these cases. Rule number 2. Federal Database Destruction Order. The D.C. Circuit delivered a massive blow to federal overreach by ordering the ATF to destroy all digitized gun owner records within 90 days. The court ruled that searchable databases of gun purchases are illegal federal registries, something Congress explicitly banned. States that share registry data with federal agencies could now face legal consequences. They must either keep registries entirely local or eliminate them. The NRA called this decision the biggest victory in its history. Rule number 1. End of qualified immunity for gun violations. The Eighth Circuit ended decades of police protection by eliminating qualified immunity for Second Amendment violations. If an officer unlawfully seizes a firearm, arrests someone legally carrying, or searches solely based on gun possession, they can now face personal civil liability, federal prosecution under 18 U.S.C. 242, inclusion on the Brady list, ending their career. Police departments nationwide are scrambling as insurance companies drop liability coverage. Some agencies are even ordering officers to avoid gun-related enforcement unless there's a clear crime. These 10 rulings aren't just legal victories, they're the restoration of freedoms that should never have been infringed. The Second Amendment is no longer treated as a second-class right. Share this video, spread the word, and most importantly, know your rights. Because the revolution didn't come from Congress this time. It came from the courts.